Last week, I talked about how sometimes hikers undervalue day hikes. Today's talk is about how dangerous it can be to underestimate day hikes. Well, day hikes can mean a wide variety of things, from a simple walk in a local state park to bigger challenges like climbing mountains. Keep this in mind as this discussion applies to when you're going into an unfamiliar situation. It's underestimating hikes that gets people into trouble. For example, in October of 2025, 20 hikers had to be rescued from Mount Washington. So here are some excerpts from an article about it. The hikers were rescued by the Mount Washington Cog Railway. The group of 20 hikers were unprepared due to inexperience and poor choice of clothing, including non-waterproof layers and sneakers. A few of the rescued hikers revealed it was their first hike ever. Due to the snowy, windy weather, the hikers were rescued with symptoms ranging from exhaustion to hypothermia. It's literally a life or death situation if they go up there unprepared. Part of that preparation is doing research and finding out what the conditions are. Lack of knowledge comes in various forms. First, there's knowing that there's something you don't know. This is the least dangerous kind of ignorance, and I mean that in a technical sense, because there is a self-awareness of where information is lacking and something can be done about it. Either you find the information, or if that's not possible, you account for that lack. As a simple example, I live near this state reservation that has a lot of hiking trails. The first time I came here, I knew what I didn't know, where the trails went, how challenging they were, and how long they were. That could easily be solved by getting a trail map. When I found the map box was empty, I proceeded with an awareness of the limitations of what I knew. It was 4 p.m. and the park closed at 6 p.m., so I found a trail that was well marked, but I had no idea where it went. But I had that time limit. I wanted to be out of the park before the gates closed, so I hiked for 45 minutes, took notes of which way I came when there were intersecting trails, and I turned around after 45 minutes to hike back. It all worked out, and I later obtained a map from the park's website. So even if we don't have complete information, if we know what we don't know, we can deal with it. We can even postpone if necessary. Second, there's not knowing what you don't know, the classic unknown unknowns. This happens from inexperience. With those Mount Washington hikers, it would be one thing to realize that weather conditions at the top can be far different from those at the base, and if you don't have a weather report, that's a known unknown. It's quite another to not know this and not realize that it's important. This is one of those two types of ignorance that gets people in trouble out on the trail, lacking the experience to even know what is important. In another case, a hiker on Mount Lemmon near Tucson was rescued by 2 Army officers and a civilian. The hiker was disoriented and suffering from dehydration. Paramedic Sean Matthias stated that anyone engaging in outdoor activities in Arizona's summer heat should carry plenty of water, pack electrolytes, and have the proper equipment to prevent heat-related illness or the need for rescue. It was a 100-degree day and the hiker had walked 15 miles with no water source. The man was found leaning against a tree, visibly disoriented and unable to walk or sit without assistance. Again, a case of a hiker not realizing what it was they didn't know. The worst kind of ignorance is arrogantly and confidently wrong. The comments about an incident that was widely reported in 2019 about a hiker who was lost on Maui for 17 days show this kind of ignorance. These were clearly from people who themselves had never been in any backcountry. As a social media post might put it, tell me you've never hiked without saying you've never hiked. Now, I'm doing this from memory, so the comments are as I recall them, and they won't be word for word. I'm not even sure with the news source I found them in, probably Yahoo, but 2 really stuck in my mind. One was, how could she lose her shoes in a flash flood? That doesn't happen unexpectedly. Well, on Maui, it's entirely plausible. The island's steep valleys and volcanic terrain can turn a dry stream bed into a torrent in seconds, even when it hasn't rained where you are. Floodwaters often come racing down from higher elevations. When they hit narrow gulches, the surge can be sudden and powerful. In her case, she left her shoes in a dry stream bed to let them dry, and they were carried away by such a sudden flood. According to FEMA, even 6 inches of swiftly moving water can knock a person off their feet, a reminder of how dangerous Maui's flash floods can be. She had no reasonable chance to save her shoes. The second comment was, the average distance between houses on Maui is 2 miles. All she had to do was walk a short distance and she would have found one. The naivete displayed in this comment is laughable. I only hope for this person's sake that they stay out of the backcountry permanently. I don't know whether the 2-mile average is even accurate, but let's go with it. Even if a house was only a mile away, finding it without any idea which way it is a formidable task in the deep woods. But Maui's population is concentrated in just a few coastal areas, while much of the island, especially the upland forest and the valleys on Haleakala's slopes, remain untouched wilderness. In the area where she was lost, there are no roads, no buildings, and often no clear trails, just miles of dense forest and deep ravines. Some have even compared it to a jungle. Out there, that 2-mile average for the whole island just doesn't matter. Anyone can walk for days and never see a single sign of human life. Imagine if either of these commenters were actually out in the backcountry. For their own sakes, they should stay indoors. On a crisp autumn morning, a hiker set out for a day hike along a 13,000-foot ridge in Colorado, aware that a winter storm was forecast for later in the day. Confident in his abilities, he wore only a cotton hoodie and carried minimal supplies, a small amount of food and water, with no extra layers to protect against cold or wind. He assumed the weather wouldn't be a serious challenge, that he could handle whatever came. When the storm hit, temperatures plunged and snow fell heavily, leaving him vulnerable and struggling for survival. This was worse than "I didn't know what I didn't know." He knew the risks, but overconfidence made him underestimate them. What should have been a routine day hike became a dangerous ordeal, a reminder that in the mountains, self-assurance without preparation can be deadly. One way I know someone may be underestimating a hike is when I hear them say something like, "Only 2 more miles? That's like 8 laps around the track." Well, it is the same distance as 8 laps, but unless it's an exceptionally flat stretch, it's nothing like 8 laps around a track. Another thing to consider, a day hiker who gets lost is ill-prepared for an overnight ordeal, whereas a backpacker already setting out on a multi-day hike is better prepared for overnight if they get lost. Please don't underestimate any hikes you undertake. Anytime you're going into an unfamiliar situation, whether a new trail or a familiar trail at a different time of year, stop and think before you venture out. This is especially important for us older hikers, where conditions that a younger hiker might tolerate can be deadly for us. So if you appreciate this content, please like, share, subscribe, and comment on this or other topics you'd like me to cover. And if you haven't seen this video, I recommend you take a look at it now. Thanks for watching.